Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to New Life Live. Larry Sonnenburg sitting in for Steve Arterburn today, and I'm blessed here to be with Dr. Jill Hubbard.
Hello, Larry. It's good to be here with you.
Milan Yerkovich.
And we're blessed too,
yes.
Larry. I mean,
I was hoping you'd say that.
I know. I mean, well, you started off on such a positive note. We had to follow it up.
How unusual is that?
I know, Larry.
Oh, gosh.
Fishing on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are sticking with that this month. We're not going to ignore it or deny it because it's important because of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Ask you guys a question. How do ongoing marital issues negatively impact your mental health?
Well, extremely. I mean, I think about it from the perspective of being a woman. And part of the fall and the curse is that we look to our spouse, to our significant person, and we run all of life's issues through that relationship. So even things that aren't really pertaining to our spouse, we think is because of our relationship. So when the marriage is not doing well, very difficult for us who are looking to that relationship to make or break our lives, really. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? And we also know that in the maintenance part of relating and relationship, that's where, women are doing the most work, let's just say, okay? Like men, like the coming together, and when there's a major earthquake in the relationship, okay, then they're right there. Otherwise, it's the women that we're kind of always tending to the garden of the relationship.
Well, and there's a reason for that. And that is that it's all about hormones. Females are nurturers. Yeah. They're nurturers. Mm-hmm. And they're built for nurture and closeness. Mm-hmm. And males are less so because of their hormones. Mm-hmm. But what happens in a marriage is it brings up all of our life issues. Mm-hmm. Marriage is provocative. It creates a tension. The very thing we want, which is closeness, because we're made in the image and likeness of God, because of the fall, Jill, we have tension in the relationship.
Yes, we do.
And when we're by ourselves, we feel okay, but when we enter into a relationship, things start to bubble up. And that's, if we don't understand what those bubblings are, then we're helpless and hopeless to fix them or to be able to work with them. So that's what we do. One of the things we do at the seminar, we help people understand that a marriage is two colliding histories.
From different cultures.
From different, regardless, it's two different histories that are colliding. And, I can fall in love with the person, but they have a history behind them of all the years they've been alive. All that history is a part of who the front face is. The person that I say I do to, they carry with them X number of years of life experience, successful and unsuccessful. And we pull those things up. And I think that's one of the things that's the least understood these days is how much history is involved in our current reactivity. Relationship pulls them up.
And we, at that workshop, guys, we help you deal with the big words that scare the wits out of you when you crawl into bed at night and your wife says, honey, we need to talk. You can deal with it after you come to this workshop much better than you would before. This workshop is July 23rd to 25th in Washington, D.C. We're going to in person. Milan and Kay will be there. Steve Arterburn will be there. Several others of us will be there to greet and say hello. So I hope you'll call and ask about that. And you do that. We're going to take a call right after this break. And there's one other workshop I wanted to tell you about, Restore Workshop, June 25th to 27th in Dallas.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, a physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, June 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. And I was just saying before the break, not sure I got it all in. Restore Workshop is June 25th, 27th in Dallas. Ladies, that's for you if you had the heartbreak of betrayal. And guys, if you were the ones betraying because you need every man's battle, we're doing that online one-day workshop June the 12th. Restore is in person, intimacy and marriage is in person. And then in August, we're going to do emotional freedom online, August the 14th. So, with that having been said, let's speak with Nora. Nora's on line 3 from Winton, California. Listens on our app. Hello, Nora. How can we help you?
Hi. Hello. I'm calling because I am struggling with my son right now. He's 19 years old, and he has been diagnosed with depression, and he's also battling with a drug addiction, Oxycontin. And I have taken him to therapy through New Life Counselor, and he was doing brain pain therapy. He did a few sessions, and then he quit. And so I am calling because I just wanted some advice on how can I help my son. I'm trying to convince him to go into a rehab center, and I feel that I'm close to convincing him, and he wants the help, and he wants to change his life around, and I just don't know how to help him.
Nora, thank you for your call. I appreciate your frustration, and it is really hard. 19-year-olds are still adolescents, and the maturity factor isn't strong yet, and so he's still very young inside, and you're going to really have to approach him. And I loved that you said he's getting closer to accepting your viewpoint. So whatever you're doing, it seems like it's working, doesn't it, Nora? I mean, aren't you getting him closer to thinking about it?
Yes. We talk a lot, and my son, he's not lost yet. It's just starting to get out of hand.
Yes.
It used to be like, he'd take long breaks and then like a month, and he'd do it one day, but now it's starting to get, he'll go 7 days sober the most, and then we think he's fine, he's over it, and then he'll just do it again.
Yeah.
And
part of the journey, part of the journey, Nora, is for your son to realize the tension that he feels right before he decides to take his drugs again, because he can go 7 days, but then something's happening internally. He feels depressed, he feels anxious, agitated, he feels frightened, he feels all kinds of things, which then drive him back to the drug addiction, because that makes all the pain go away.
Right.
And so,
and addicts typically think that any pain at all shouldn't be there, like that it's bad, something's wrong, and so they have this misconception that they shouldn't have to tolerate any pain. When all of us, we tolerate things. That tension you're talking about, Milan, we tolerate that. And then we choose healthier options. We don't just try to annihilate it. but something about that really scares him. So I think that's a really wise place to start.
Jill, your point is so well taken, because Nora, what Jill is saying is critical, because what are we supposed to feel in this lifetime? You see? And a lot of people think I should be feeling pain-free all the time. And
I'm only okay if I'm pain-free.
That's right. And earlier, you were mentioning the fall of mankind, or that we are a broken race and we live under the fall and futility. And certainly there's tension within that. And if part of adulting, or learning to be an adult, is to accept the fact that every day is going to have good things in it, and everything's going to have hard things in it.
Right.
And those hard things make me feel pain, and the good things help me feel some joy. And learning to integrate good and bad is something we're all trying to do, Nora. So I think I would really work with your son, and he needs to be in therapy with someone that can help him understand that pain is something all adults have to accept and learn to live with.
Yeah.
Well, and I might enlist the help of an addiction specialist, MD, to come alongside you to help, because he can, someone like that can really speak to, how your son views things, and can help promote the idea of going into rehab, or basically spell out his options.
Nora, did your son ever have any traumas, or did something happen to him that was hurtful or painful at all?
Yes. We lost my husband 3 years ago, and then things started getting a little out of hand. And then we lost his older brother, my son. We lost him in December, just a couple ago. And then after that, it just really got out of hand.
Yes, it would.
And so now, him being the oldest brother, and also being, the oldest in the home, it's a lot for him, I think.
Right.
And so, he's struggling through a lot, and he has PTSD. He doesn't think so, but I do. I believe so, because he lived through, when my husband passed, and he's gone through a lot, and he doesn't think that's what it is that's bothering him. He thinks that he has accepted that, but I think that it is.
Nora, this is an important point here. Your mind, or cognitively, you can think you've accepted it, but your body is saying something different, because fear wells up involuntarily inside. When we feel pain, we get scared, and we don't invite the pain to come in. We don't invite the emotion of fear to come in. It just automatically comes in when we've been traumatized. So you can think one thing, but your body is telling you a different reality. And there's a great book by a gentleman by the name of Bessel van der Kolk. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And the body, when it's traumatized, carries the trauma with it. And so the fear, the apprehension, the agitation your son feels, having lost 2 significant people in the last 3 years, is coming out in his physiology, his body, his reactions. So it's the body keeps the score is the book. So just try to remember that, jot that down, and it would be very important for your son to understand that. There's hope for him, but he needs to understand what trauma does.
Nora.
Yeah, and I tried. He agreed to go to therapy, and you with the New Life counselor, and we decided to do brain pain, and that was working really good. And he didn't want to do counseling, so he decided to do brain pain, and did a few sessions, and then decided to just quit. Thought he was okay. He didn't need it. He wasn't that bad.
Okay,
and I've seen a big difference in him.
Nora, I don't know what brain pain is. I just have never heard that term before. But the bottom line is trauma work needs to involve a trauma specialist, somebody that specializes in it. And I would just And it may have been that, and it may just have been a term used by the therapist, but you really need to get him into, and this is the hard part. He doesn't want to look at that pain on the inside, but it's leaking out in fear.
Right. And as long, though, but see, he's got a dual problem because the addiction piece now has taken on a life of its own.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the quickest go-to for him.
Right.
And so the drugs really do hijack our brains. And it's like, I'm going to die if I don't do this.
Right.
And so that's where he's got to do the rehab in order to do the grief work.
And that order that Jill just said is important, Nora. He has to get rid of the toxic, build up and the emotional dependency upon it in order to then be left with nothing influencing him so he can begin doing the work.
Nora, I want to thank you for the call. I hope this has been helpful.
Yeah.
I hope you get your son to rehab, and I'd like to send you a Life Recovery Bible. That will be a very big help to him if he takes on the rehab and really fighting this issue. So thank you so much for your call. Okay, I want to go talk to Michael. Michael's on line 8 in Mountain View, Missouri. Sirius XM listener. Hello, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing great here. How are you doing? How can we help you?
I'm doing pretty good. I wanted to ask you a question about my birth mom. Should I open up a relationship with her? And I can go into details if you'd like about our relationship and our history.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Pretty soon. Well, our relationship as a child was abusive, verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically. I ran away from home when I was 10 years old, and I got put in. They asked me if I wanted to go back home. I said, no, I'll run away again. So they put me in a foster care system. I didn't meet my dad until I was about 9, so I hadn't known him very long. And my dad's mom, my grandmother and grandfather, he had passed away. I never met him. And she took me out of the foster care system and put me in a children's home. And it was a Christian children's home. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I thank God every day for it. And anyway,
So have you had any contact with your mom since 10 years old?
Yeah. She called me on my 31st birthday and singing me happy birthday. Then the very next month she called asking me to borrow some money. And I told her I didn't have the money. And then about every 10 years she calls and wants to, and she's a toxic person. And, she called here March, and then she called right before Mother's Day. And, I just, and whenever you go to get off the phone with her, I can't talk on the phone very long with her, but she'll say, I love you. And I don't feel that. I don't feel obligated to say that. And I'll say, okay, talk to you next time. And, I know the Bible says, honor thy father and mother, and I'm a chaplain at the VFW. And, I 70% PTSD from a VA, and, I got my own demons, and I've spent years struggling with suicidal thoughts, and the VA's got my medication squared away where I'm good to go, and I feel great all the time. And man, I just, and I think I already know the right answer. I just need confirmation.
Well, Michael, I'm so sorry all that you have been through, and I'm glad that there were people that heard your cries for help and lifted you out of that and gave you a safe place to land. I can see how every time your mom calls, how disorienting that can be, because moms are supposed to love us and care for us and protect us and nurture us. And you've had the opposite of that. And I'm not hearing that your mom has gotten any help. It sounds like your mom is just at survival level. So wherever she can get someone to maybe support her, and that really a lot of her calls are all about her and not really. I mean, if you call your son every 10 years, you're not really that interested in how he's doing.
Well, you're absolutely right. We have, me and my wife have 5 kids. She never asked about, when she calls, she never asked about the kids. Our youngest graduates high school this next Saturday. We have wonderful kids. She's never asked about them. It's always about her on the phone. It's always about her, her medical conditions or her mental conditions. Or
Michael,
whatever.
hold the line. We have to take a break, and we'll be back with you right after the break.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online May 1st. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back, and Milan's got a few things he could share for Michael.
Well, I don't know if I have a few things, Michael, but you were asking about the relationship. Should I have a relationship with my birth mom? And the answer is you have one. It's very weak and marginalized, but you have a relationship. It's very distant. It's occasional. It's unpredictable. It's infrequent. And all you can do, Michael, is accept what you got and then ask yourself, what will I do for mom? What will I do? Can I be polite? Can I just at least listen to her? What will I tolerate? What will I not? And I think you have a very mature understanding. You sound like a really good dude here. And Michael, I really appreciate your perspective. And I appreciate you've had your own demons, but you're working out of them. And you're at the VA and you're doing a good job. So I'm proud of you. But I think this is all this is what you got with mom. This is it.
Right. And I think, Michael, to ask yourself, okay, when she calls, what does that stir up for you?
Yes. Excellent.
Right.
Point.
How long are you, disoriented as a result of it? As a result of her call. right? And that's what you have to look at. Okay, can mom call and I can tolerate it? And okay, mom, great to hear from you, and then go about my business. Or does it take me several days to recover from the call? And so that's where you can ask yourself, okay, what can I tolerate and what can I not tolerate? And that's where you establish boundaries. So if it's okay, but you're asking yourself, should I have more? I guess I'm wondering why.
Yeah.
Because do you want more of this? Sounds like mom pretty much is mentally ill. Do you want more of this? And what would more look like?
And I think this is where we have to protect ourselves, Jill and Larry, with when we realize a person is not healthy, how much will we let ourselves get into their grasp? And to hold a line where we will not let them pass any further. Maybe
and
maybe
you can
it's
still be loving.
You can, and maybe it's a time limit on a phone call. I'm not going to talk to mom. I'm not necessarily going to tell her this, but I'm not going to talk any more than 10 minutes when she calls. I'm not going to stay on the. She's not going to eat up an hour. She's not going to suck an hour of time away from me. That's exactly right.
And I'm not going to expect her to be interested in me.
I love what you said a minute ago, Jill, that what's the toll it's taking on Michael?
Yes.
And how much is it pulling out of him? How long does it take him to recover? I know I had a similar experience like that. You know, if I was with a certain parent of mine, it would take, several hours for me to feel less agitated. And then I had to ask, what's the toll? How much time will I invest into that?
Right.
Michael, we're going to send you Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers. There's a real good aspect to that book that will be helpful to you.
Right. There's a chapter in there that talks about how we honor parents that are not honorable.
Listen, for Michael to be married, have 5 kids, the kids doing well, for what he went through, Michael, I'm so proud of you. It's incredible, the job you've done.
The fighter spirit in you.
I love what you've done, Michael. Keep it up.
Okay. Well, we're going to go from mother issue to a father issue, I think. This is Terry, Knoxville, Indiana. Is that Indiana or Tennessee? I can't read it. I know Knoxville's in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And how can we help you today, Terry?
Yeah. Well, you answered some of my thoughts with the prior call. But yes, I have a narcissistic father who is 86 years old. I reached out to about 15 years ago, wanting to be closer to him, but there were a few things that were bothering me I wanted to talk to him about, and he shut me down. And I didn't understand it at the time, but through therapy I learned he's very narcissistic, and that's been my issue. I finally started to understand things. But it's been really difficult through the years because my mother, everybody's got faults, and my brother and sisters became kind of his supporting cast where they were just taking everything they could get from him because at least they were having some kind of father. And I'm the one that's going, no, this is not right. I'm the one that's calling him out on stuff and very scapegoated.
And your parents are still married?
They are. He's 86. He just had he's been healthy, but he just had his first bout with congestive heart failure. And so he knows he's getting older. He said things like, Terry, I'm sorry. He's told me I'm sorry through the years for whatever it is you think I did. But, I've sent him many, many letters and explanations of specific things, but he won't own anything. He just kind of deflects everything. So
what's your question? What's your question, Terry?
Well, my question is, I was going to ask you about, how to set boundaries with somebody like this, and how to honor a possibly unbelieving father. We're actually going to my pastor next week. He agreed to go, which was shocking. But I know we're going to go in there and he's going to put on this, oh yeah, I love my daughter, but I know the truth behind what he says and does is different. And I'm nervous.
And so Terry, what are you hoping you're going to get from getting your father to admit things? I think you're holding out that somehow if he admits that will free you up.
Terry, think about that as we go to a break, okay? And then we'll get the answer for that on the other side. I just want to remind everybody we still have a matching gift going on, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. We'll talk more about that later. We'll be right back.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 8 books in the Arterburn Wellness series, including Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression and Understanding and Loving a Person with Alcohol and Drug Addiction. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. Terry, Jill asked you a question right before the break. What are you thinking or hoping to get out of this meeting with your pastor?
When I talked to my pastor, he said, Terry, I'm not one to judge. You know, I've never met your dad, but from the things you're telling me, I really question whether he's a believer or not. My mother would tell you he was, but he says, you know, really, he said the unbelieving would come before the narcissism. You know, if he was truly a believer, then he would not say things like, you're what's wrong with this family, you and you alone, or, you know, no one else has a problem, only you, because I'm the one that's being scapegoated. No one else wants to speak up and say, Dad, these things are not right. The way you're treating Mom's not right. These, you know, I'm the one that calls him on things. Mm-hmm. But, you know, for me, I think I'm, you know, a genuine apology, but I don't know. I think I'm hoping for the impossible.
A miracle.
Unless God, I think so.
You're hoping for a miracle, and so then it becomes a setup for you. It's one thing if you want the pastor, excuse me, to help lead your father to the Lord or to explain faith to him. It's another thing to think that your dad is going to see the light from one conversation and, oh, Terry, you're right. Our family's dysfunctional, and I'm the cause, and I'm going to change. At 86, I don't see that happening, Terry. And I think,
I don't either.
See, your mom, in order to live with a narcissist, you have to kind of meld into their world. Because if you see the truth, then you can't tolerate staying. So she's had to become, so that's what she's saying, oh, everybody has faults, right? Yes, and then your siblings either are also colluding or they get who your dad is and they know he's not going to change.
That's right. And they say, if you can't have a relationship with him, then you can't have one with us because you're dishonoring Dad. They have this perception that, you know, that I'm not honoring him when I'm calling him.
Right.
It's crazy. But my mother went to see my pastor. They don't go to my church. My mother, a year ago, I found out this week that she went with my brother. Because my mother, I think she's desperate because she doesn't know how to fix things because she's 82. She doesn't know how to fix things. So what did they do? They went to my pastor, and they told my pastor not to tell me. Well, my pastor didn't tell me, but he says, Terry goes to our church. She's one of us. You know, she's. But they were like, well, we don't want her to know. Well, he's like, well, I'm not sure I'm supposed to fix things unless I can talk to Terry. I found out about it because I saw something written down at home. And I was
So they were going to your pastor so that your pastor would fix you? So you would behave in the family? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody's kind of colluding with Dad, and we're just going to kind of make nice. And it's okay if he acts badly.
So, Terry, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Are you the protester in other relationships? And are you struggling at all with other relationships in your life?
I do not I struggle with my siblings. But no, I don't have issues with other relationships. I do have some issue with my husband's family, but that's because there are issues there. His mother's been married 7 times, and I've drawn some clear boundaries, you know, in certain areas that I think are healthy. But as far as friends and work and stuff, no, I don't.
So do you draw boundaries with your husband's family that your husband doesn't draw?
Yes, my husband's not a very good speaker-upper.
I like that. A speaker-upper. I like that. So then you are the speaker-upper now in 2 families, your own and his.
Well, I haven't talked to his family in quite a while either. They live out of state. We don't see them much. They've been in some addiction stuff. I don't talk to them.
Two things, Terry. Number one, the person, you know, the old adage, you know, that who gets shot? The messenger. You know, the messenger is the one who gets shot. The person that's telling everybody something is oftentimes the one that draws fire on themselves or becomes the target because everybody else is, like Jill said, colluding and not saying anything. But I agree with Jill. I don't know the purpose of this meeting with your pastor except to tell your dad about the Lord and going to heaven at 86. I don't know that he's going to change. And your mom sounds more like a victim who's gotten, as Jill said, sucked in to his world and is controlled by him. And I would not allow the dishonoring label that your brothers and sister have given you to stick on you because you're simply telling the truth. And especially you sounded like you were defending your mom, the way he was treating her over the years. And your mom couldn't defend herself. So here you are, the one that picks up the sword and decides to get into the battle. And it's an unfortunate position, but it's also a healthy position. And it's going to sound a little different to you, but the one that can speak truth, oftentimes the angry kid in the home is sometimes the healthiest because they're not going to put up with it. And that's a difficult tension to be the messenger and the speaker and the speaker-upper. I'm going to use that again, by the way, Terry. I love that phrase, the speaker-upper. And then, but you're also the target. And so it's not a good solution, especially if the family is colluding. So I would just do everything I can to say as little as possible from this point on and just stay. If you don't have to say anything, don't. Your mom has accepted her lot in life too. She's 82, 83.
How many years have they been married?
Oh, about 60.
Yeah.
It's been a long time,
So, Terry, you get to be in charge of what you tolerate and what you don't. But the rest of them have made their choices. And if they're not wanting to see or hear the truth, then you just have some decisions to make about being around them. Right? Can you be around them with their choices? knowing that you guys agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, one of the things Terry said early in this call was she was going to ask about boundaries and setting boundaries. So I thought maybe we'd
boundaries are.
Send her the book. Boundaries.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So.
Sure, and those boundaries are for you. It's not to control them.
Right.
It's for you.
To protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And as John Townsend says in that book, if you don't have anybody mad at you, then you don't have any boundaries. Odds are,
right?
Because boundaries make people irritated at you. That you would say no.
Right. And it is about saying no, or this is what I'm willing to do. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm not willing to do. Mm-hmm. I don't think we have to wave the boundary flag and say, I'm setting a boundary here, everybody. And no, you decide what your boundary is, and then you live it out.
Right. And then you set a boundary, and then there's something to be said about just being silent.
Yes,
from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to take our last call right after the break. Before we go to break, I want to remind you that, this is a little confusing. This is Thursday, May 20th, but it's a recorded program that we did on Monday. And so I typically tell you how much is left to go on the matching gift, and I can't give you an updated report because 3 days have gone by. So it was a little over $100,000 on Monday. And so if you could make a gift towards that, and I'm expecting that we maybe haven't got there yet, but I hope that we have. But your gift will be so meaningful. People like who are calling this program, who are hurting, who don't know what to do, they have some place to call because your gifts support this ministry. We are able to buy the airtime. We're able to man the phones on the other end. We're able to do the workshops. We're able to buy the books that we offer. And it all takes money to run. And so every gift you give will be doubled until we reach that goal. That goal was $459,000, and we're getting close. $100,000 doesn't sound close, but you folks have been incredibly generous, and can't thank you enough. So if any gift you give this month, we're going to send you Dave Stoops' book, You Are What You Think. And you'll learn how to use self-talk to gain control of the way you feel and make your emotions work for you rather than against you. And it helps your mental health, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So God bless you. Thank you so much for supporting this ministry. I'm going to just run through the list of workshops that are coming up again real quickly. We have Every Man's Battle online, June the 12th, one-day workshop. Restore workshop is in person, June 25th to the 27th in Dallas. Intimacy and Marriage workshop is in person, July 23rd to 25th in Washington, D.C. And the Emotional Freedom Online workshop is August 14th, a one-day workshop. And Life Recovery Today with Steve Arterburn, you can watch that every Thursday, 11 o'clock Eastern on the NRB network. Or you can visit liferecoverytoday.net to catch up on the past episodes. We'll be back right after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to
fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We're going to go straight to our final caller. His name is Robert. He's in Orange City, Florida. Robert, how can we help you today?
Yes, I just wanted to know, like, what to do with someone that's emotionally wrecked, like, in pretty much every way.
Are you talking about yourself?
Yeah, because I don't have a clue what to do. It's just so bad, it's like, I don't even think I can put a dent in it, you know?
You need to hear just a little bit more. What?
You're feeling pretty hopeless.
Yeah.
Sounds like, Robert.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like I could put a dent in this problem.
Yeah.
I tried to think different and speak different and all that, and then something happens and bam, I get right back in the mess again. So it's like healing don't happen. I just go right. It just gets rougher instead of better.
Can you tell us the problem, the gist of the problem that you're talking about?
Well, what probably caused it was my childhood, all the emotional damage. You know, I was told that I have nothing to stand on emotionally because my emotions were destroyed when I was little, and then I'm trying to fix it now, and I can't find no help, no churches, nobody to connect with me and stick with me long enough to get it healed. Now it's so rough. I don't know what to do. And then every time I try to go to a program or find a program to get into or something, now that it's so rough, God's like, no, you can't go there. Like, he won't let me go nowhere. So now it's so rough that, like, he's like, nobody can help you but me. Renew your mind. That's the only hope you got. That's what it seems like I'm getting. So,
but you know, Robert,
I could get my walk back with God.
Your emotions weren't destroyed. That is, they weren't annihilated. They weren't taken away from you. They're still in there. They were just severely damaged, and they can be, new emotions can be restored in a healthy way with healthy adults. And that's how we recover. We are not and do not have to be left for the rest of our lives to flounder in the way our families left us. We can grow. And so one of the things that you're going to want to do, Jill asked a great question a minute ago, and that was, what happens that something happens in your life and then a reaction occurs from you. So what is the reaction that ends up coming out of you? And could you describe what you do, or the anger or the reactivity, or what happens to you when somebody pushes that button? What do you do?
It's not really people, it's me. Every time I will try to get better, every time I'm getting a little better, and then something triggers me, or something negative happens, or a thought happens, and then bam, I'm right back in the mess again. Like, it totally just messes up the whole healing process, and now I can't get past.
What is something that triggers you, Robert?
Like, well, I'm thinking so much negative right now. Like, it's like overload. So it's like it don't really matter. Every time I try to get better, I could just think one little negative thought, anything bad, and it's just like, wow, it'll wreck me. So,
okay. Well,
so I don't know what,
first of all, Robert, I don't blame you for having negative feelings, and you shouldn't be blaming yourself either, because your family, apparently from your testimony, whatever happened back there really did create a hurtful place. What's going to be important to do is enter into a relationship where you can be with people. You just can't think your way. You said, I think my way out of this, or I think positive things, or I try to think myself in a positive direction. And we need people with whom we can then feel trust, and we can develop an adult relationship with them. A group of people that are in the healing journey, a processing group, a therapy group, where we're with people and we learn to tolerate the good and bad in other people and in ourselves. And you're not going back to square one.
The stuff in me is the problem.
What?
You know, the stuff in me that I'm fighting is the problem.
I understand, but it heals.
Not really people.
It heals when we are able to let it come out in a safe place.
Robert, you've internalized
That's right.
all the stuff that happened to you
That's
in
right.
childhood. So now it is inside of you. So that is the way you view everything that happens in life. So if something goes wrong, instead of thinking, oh, something went wrong, it's something went wrong because of me and because I'm not right. And it sounds like you get these waves of emotion that are really overwhelming for you. And it takes you down that spiral, that negative spiral of all the negative things you tell yourself, right? So then it feels like you're at square one. But remember, emotional health is not a linear climb.
Right.
We have to circle back. It's more like a coil. We circle back around our issues over and over and over again. And it is that we take steps forward, we take steps backwards, but we're not at the same spot as if we had never started. And so I don't quite understand why you say that you're not allowed to have other people help you, because that is a prime way in which God, intercedes in our lives.
Community.
Is he brings other people along to help intervene.
Well, I've tried all that, and I can't get it to happen. So.
What does that mean? I tried all that. What have you done?
I called every church I could think of, every ministry I could think of, to somebody that would give me some kind of support, help, this, that, and it doesn't never happen. And now I called like 3 programs recently, and I can't go there. So it's like
okay,
go nowhere.
Robert, I have a recommendation. That is, I would make a phone call to a trauma therapist, somebody who understands trauma, and be able to sit down with them and be able to talk this through, because they will help you understand that what you're feeling makes sense.
That it's a trauma reaction.
Yes. Now there is something called an ACE score, Adverse Childhood Experiences. And we use that 10 questions in our intake forms at our counseling offices. And if a person has a score that is moving up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we had somebody in our office the other day that I talked to, she had a score of 7 adverse childhood experiences. And when you add all that up and you have a score of 7, 8, 9, 10, it is really difficult to navigate adult life if you don't have somebody helping you resolve that trauma. Right. It is not your fault. You need to be with a church can't probably help you with this. They can help you with your faith, but you need a therapist to help walk you through this.
Yeah, the emotional issues the church is not always equipped at, but they can offer resources. And Robert, speaking of resources, do you have the resources to get the help that you need?
That's a good question. Do you have the money to do it?
I don't got anything.
Oh.
Okay, so that's where, I get where you're getting a lot of closed doors then. So then you have to start with what is available. And I would recommend a 12-step group. A lot of churches have 12-step programs, and they've got a group just about for everything, and they're free.
Great idea.
And it's community. And so you show up where you can show up.
And we'll send you a Life Recovery Bible to support you in that. And so, Robert, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. Do you have a Bible? Are you a believer?
Yeah.
Look up the chapter, Lamentations chapter 3, and read that chapter through the 4th chapter anyway. We'll be back. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.